Hello, how are students? Akkam jirtu barattoota? Nagaa keessanii qayyabannaa keessan cimsitanii jirtu baay'ee gaariidha. Har'a viidiyoo kana keessatti atmospheric circulation, wind belt, ITCZ fi pressure zones kan jedhu qabadhee isiniif dhiyaadheera. Isinis ana waliin ta'uun qayyabachuudhaan qaawwa qayyabannaa keessanii duuchitanii sirriitti qormaata keessan intiraansiidhaaf akka qophooftan adaraan isiniin jedha. እንደምናችሁ ተማሪዎች ሰላም ናችሁ? ተማሪዎች ጥናታችሁን በአግባቡ እያስቀጠላችሁ ነው? በጣም ጥሩ። ዛሬ በዚህ ቪዲዮ ውስጥ ስለ አትሞስፌሪክ ሰርኩሌሽን፣ ዊንድ ቤልት እና ITCZ እንዲሁም ፕሬዠር ዞን የሚሉትን ይዤ መጥቻለሁኝ። ከጂኦ ሌሰን 17 ቲዩብ ጋር በማጥናት ክፍተቶቻችሁን በመሙላት ለፈተናችሁ ከወትሮም በላይ እንድትዘጋጁ ከወዲሁ አሳስባችኋለሁ። Choose the correct answer from the given alternatives. Question number 1. What is the primary reason why the intertropical convergence zone shifts north and south during the year? A. The Coriolis effect varies with seasons. B. The Earth's tilt causes seasonal changes in solar heating. C. The Hadley cell expands and contracts. 10. The rotation speed of the Earth changes slightly over time. E. The polar jet stream directs air movement towards the equator. The Earth's tilt causes seasonal changes in solar heating. This is a primary reason why the intertropical convergence zone ITCZ shifts north and south during the year. Basically, the ITCZ shifts with the shift of the sun between Tropic of Capricorn and the Tropic of Cancer. When the sun becomes overhead on northern hemisphere during summer, which means June 21st up to September 22, then the ITCZ also found in northern hemisphere. While when the sun shifts to the southern hemisphere due to the tilt of the earth, ITCZ also found in southern hemisphere during winter for southern region. The ITCZ most moves north or south following the location of most intense solar heatings, which shifts due to Earth's tilting by 23.5 axial. This is why tropical rain seasons vary by hemisphere. A is not the correct answer. Why? Because the Coriolis effect is constant at a given latitude and does not shift the ITCZ. ITCZ only shifts with the shift of the sun. But A says the Coriolis effect varies with the seasons. It says wrong. C is not the answer. Why? It says Hadley cell expands, contracts randomly. This is incorrect because Hadley cell movement follows a predictable pattern which is tied to solar heating, not randomness. D is not the answer because it dictates that the rotation speed of the Earth changes slightly over time. This is grammatically wrong. Why? Because while the Earth's rotation does change slightly over millennia, it does not affect seasonal ITCZ movements. Again, the polar jet stream direct air movement towards the equator. It says E. This is also incorrect. The reason: the polar jet stream is located at high latitude, especially 60 degree, and affects mid-latitude weather, not the ITCZ. For this reason, B is the correct answer for question number 1. Question number 2. What causes the deflection of winds in the global atmospheric circulation system? A. The uneven heating of land and water. B. The Coriolis effect due to Earth's rotation. C. The expansion and extraction of Hadley cells. D. The presence of ocean currents. E. The gravitational pull of moon. Question number 3. Which of the following is a characteristics of the Westerlies? A. They flow from east to west between 30 degree and 60 degree latitude. B. They are strongest at the intertropical convergence zone. C. They bring moisture and they originate in the polar cell and move equatorward. E. They weaken during winter and strengthen in summer. The Coriolis effect due to the Earth's rotation causes the deflection of winds in the global atmospheric circulation system. The Coriolis effect caused by the Earth's rotation deflects trade winds to the right in the northern hemisphere, then northeast trade wind becomes formed. To the left in the southern hemisphere, then the southeast trade wind becomes happen. In short, the Coriolis effect caused by Earth's rotation makes moving air curves to the right in the northern hemisphere and curve to the left in the southern hemisphere. A is not the correct answer because uneven heating of land and the water is the influence of local wind. Example, sea breezes. But it does not cause large-scale deflection of global winds. C is also not the exact answer because the expansion and the contraction of Hadley cells, it says, this is incorrect. Hadley cells influence vertical air movement, not wind deflection. Bear in your mind, students. D is also not the answer. Why? It says the presence of ocean currents. This is grammatically incorrect. Ocean currents are affected by wind patterns, not the cause of their deflection. E is not the answer. The reason. It says the gravitational pull of the moon. The moon influences tides, not wind patterns. Reasonably, B is the correct answer. Westerly winds bring moisture and storms to the mid-latitude because they blow from west to east between 30 degree and 60 degree latitudes. This carries moisture and storms that influencing mid-latitude climate. But A, B, D, E are not the answer. Okay, why? A says that westerlies flow from east to west between 30 and 60 latitude. No, westerlies blow from west to east, not from east to west. Not east to west, totally. B, they are strongest at the ITCZ, it says. No, ITCZ is dominated by trade winds, not by westerlies. Okay? D is not the answer. Why? Because it says they originated in the polar cell and move equatorward, it says. No, westerlies come from the feral cell, not from the polar cell. And also move polewards, not equatorwards. I finalize D once. D is not the correct answer because it states that they originate in the polar cell and move equatorward. But westerlies come from feral cell, not from polar cell. Westerlies move polewards, not equatorwards. Okay? E is not the answer. Why? It states that they weaken during the winter and strengthen in summer. Westerlies are generally stronger in winter due to stronger temperature gradients between the poles and the mid-latitudes, but not weaker during winter. Rather, they are stronger in winter and weaker in summer. So, C is the correct answer for question number 3. Again, question number 4. Why do hurricanes generally not form near the equator? A. The air pressure at the equator is too high for storm formation. B. The equator has too much cloud cover, blocking solar energy. C. The Coriolis effect is too weak to generate rotation. What? Rising. E. Strong westerly winds disrupt storm formation at the equator. The Coriolis effect is too weak to generate rotation. Due to this, hurricanes generally not form near the equator. This means Coriolis effect is weakest near the equator, making it difficult for storms to develop the necessary rotation to form a hurricane. A is incorrect. Why? The air pressure at the equator is too high for storm formation, it says. But the equator is low pressure zone, ITCZ, not high pressure zone. B says the equator has too much cloud cover blocking solar energy. No. Clouds do not prevent the ocean from absorbing enough heat to fuel storms. D is also not correct because the ITCZ blocks warm ocean air from rising, it says. But the ITCZ encourages rising air and cloud formation, not blocking clouds. E. Strong westerly winds disrupt storm formation at the equator, it says. No, because westerlies do not exist at the equator. The trade winds dominate there. So, C is the correct answer for question number 4. Question number 5. Which factor contributes most to the formation of jet stream? A. Differences in ocean salinity. B. Rapid changes in air pressure over the polar ice caps. C. Air masses. What will be D. The friction between the Earth's surface and atmosphere. E. The gravitational pull of the sun on Earth's atmosphere. Temperature contrast between warm and cold air masses contributes most to the formation of jet stream. Jet stream formed where there is a strong temperature gradient between cold polar air and warm mid-latitude air. This creates fast-moving upper atmosphere winds. But A, B, D, and E are not the correct answer. Why? A is incorrect because salinity affects ocean currents, not atmospheric winds. Pressure changes influence surface winds, not jet streams. So B is also not the correct. Friction slows down winds rather than creating jet streams. Again, D is not the correct answer. Sun's gravity affects planetary orbits, not wind patterns. So, E is again not the correct answer. For this reason, C is the correct answer for question number 5. Make it, this is not question number 7, it is question number 6. What is the main characteristics of equatorial low pressure belts? Equatorial low pressure belt is also known as doldrums. A. Strong and steady winds. B. Calm conditions with little to no wind. C. High atmospheric pressure. D. Presence of prevailing westerlies. Calm conditions with little to no wind is the main characteristics of equatorial low pressure belt, which is known as doldrums. Doldrums are known for calm weather and weak variable winds. A, C, and D are not the correct answer because A is incorrect. Why? Strong and steady winds occur in trade wind region. C is incorrect because doldrums are low pressure belts, not high pressure. D is incorrect. The reason: prevailing westerlies occur in mid latitudes, not at the equator. So B is the correct answer. Question number 8. At which latitude do the subtropical high pressure belts, horse latitude, occur? A. 0 degree. B. 30 degree north and south. C. 60 degree north and south. D. 90 degree north and south. Question number 9. Which wind blow from the subtropical high pressure belt toward the equator? A. Polar easterlies. B. Prevailing westerlies. C. Trade winds. D. Monsoons. Question number 10. What is the direction of the northeast trade wind? From northeast to southwest. C. From west to east. D. From south to north. (30° north and the south latitude is the subtropical high pressure belt areas. The host latitudes are located around the 30° north and the south, where descending air creates high pressure zones. A is incorrect because 0° is the equatorial low pressure belt, while C is also wrong because 60° north and the south are subtropical low pressure belts. D is again incorrect. The reason 19° north and the south are high pressure polar regions. For this reason, B is the correct answer. Trade winds blow from the subtropical high pressure belt towards the equator. But A is incorrect because polar easterlies blow from the pole and prevailing westerlies blow towards the mid-latitude. Again, monsoon winds are seasonal winds, not a global circulation pattern. You may ask it on your entrance, which one of the following is not a global circulation pattern, or which one of the following is a seasonal winds, asked in this manner. So monsoons are seasonal, not global. C is the correct answer. The direction of northeast trade wind is from northeast to southwest. Northeast trade winds originate in the subtropics and move towards the equator in southwestward direction. A is incorrect because it describes the southeast trade wind rather than north trade wind. C is incorrect. Westerlies move from west to east. D is incorrect. Winds generally do not flow directly from south to north in a global patterns. As a result, B is the correct answer for question number 10. Question number 11. Which wind dominates between 60 and 90 latitude? A. Trade wind. B. Westerlies. C. Polar easterlies. D. Monsoon. Question number 12. Which pressure belt is also called the horse latitude? A. Subpolar low pressure. B. Equatorial low pressure. C. Subtropical high pressure. D. Polar high pressure. Polar easterly winds dominate between 60° and 19° latitude. Polar easterlies originate from high pressure poles and move towards the subpolar low pressure. A is incorrect because trade winds are found between 0 and 30° latitude, whereas westerlies are found between 30 and 60° latitude. And D is also incorrect. Monsoons are regional winds, not part of global circulation. So, C is the correct answer for question number 11. Subtropical high pressure belt is also called the horse latitude. Horse latitudes are regions of high pressure at 30° north and south. A is incorrect because subpolar low pressure occurs at 60° and the equatorial low pressure zone is at 0. Again, polar high pressure occurs at 90°. So, A, B, and D are not the correct answer. Reasonably, C is the correct answer for question number 12. Question number 13. What type of wind blow between 30 and 60 latitude? A. Westerlies. B. Easterlies. C. Trade wind. D. Local wind. Question number 14. Why do the trade winds curve rather than blow straight? A. Because of mountain barriers. B. Due to the Coriolis effect. C. Because of seasonal monsoons. D. Due to ocean currents. Westerly type of wind blows between 30 and 60 degree latitudes. Easterly wind blow near the pole. Trade winds are found between 0 and 30 degree. Local winds are not part of global circulation. For this reason, B, C, and D are not the correct answer. But A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Due to the Coriolis effect, the trade winds curve rather than blow straight. Coriolis deflects, moving air to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. But A is not, because mountains only affect local wind patterns. Monsoons are caused by temperature differences, not global wind deflection. Ocean currents are influenced by wind, not the vice versa. So, B is the correct answer for question number 9. Chaanalii keessan Geo Lesson 17 Tube waan daawwattaniif galatooma. Geo Lesson 17 Tube chaanalachuun sila gobenyachuu አመሰግናለሁ. Geo Lesson 17 Tube chaanalii milkoomina egeree dhalootaaf dhimmu.